Okay guys, welcome to my how to hold videos. In this video we'll be looking at Inferno. And we'll be looking at the apartments area or the carpets area of Inferno. It's a vital place to hold, and it's one of the two places that terrorists like to get control of at the start of the round, the other one being the banana area. So we'll be looking at timings, angles, positions, grenade usages, pushing, and terrorist off-plant positions as well for the apartments and for the A site. So let's first define what area of the map apartments is. So it's the bottom right hand area, and we'll be covering the apartments, the pit, graveyard, site, and a little bit of the dig area as well. But the attack will be from the apartment stairs. So from second mid to the apartment stairs. But we'll be mainly focusing on the apartments and the balcony area only. So, and the attack going to be this from the same position as well. We will not be covering either attacks from the dig area, attacks from jungle area, or attacks from the small pit area in this video, as they'll be covered in other videos. So first, let's have a look at CT timings, T timings, and the meeting angle. So for CTs to get from CT spawn through library is the quickest way, jumping onto the truck through apartments into the stairs, it takes them about 14 seconds if they've got a good spawn and if they jump on the truck as quickly as they can. For terrorists to come up second mid all the way and take a right hand turn and go to the stairs, it takes them about 16 seconds, and the meeting angle is the stairs, but if you do not have a good spawn, the terrorists will get there before you do. If you do choose to push, the terrorists will be right around the corner, so just be careful. So now let's have a look at angles. We're going to look at aggressive angles and defensive angles. So the first angle is at the stairs, and then there's the top of the stairs. It's the start to the long corridor. Then there's the end of the long corridor, the doorway to balcony, a few angles across balcony, depending where you're holding, the balcony itself, which is the last line of defense before they're onto the A site. So now look at positions. We're going to look at aggressive positions, defensive positions, one kill positions, and AWPing positions. So you can play in dark, you can play at boiler, you can play at long hall, you can play on the balcony, you can play at the back of the balcony, you can play at the pole, you can play underneath the balcony, you can play in pit, graveyard, behind the big boxes in sight, on site itself. You can even play at dig if you wish. So here's dark room, it's a pretty decent position. Boiler's quite good, it's a bit aggressive though. Long haul is a default position, it's an aggressive default position, you try to maintain control of carps. On the balcony is a decent position, you can fall off if they do come. Here's an okay position. They do actually have control of apartments when you're playing either of these two positions. So it's probably not the best position to play, unless they've got control of apartments at the time. Not a very good position underneath balcony, but it can catch them off guard. Default position in the pit, which is quite good, or graveyard. They both do allow them to have control of apartments. On site here at the box is decent, just for an off angle. And here's an okay position, but they can get control of mini pit quite easily because they can peek out carps without any problems. Same with here, you're such an odd position though. AWPings, you can AWP at the long haul here. You can AWP in pit, common AWPing positions, just make sure that your dig is watched if you're going to be AWPing carpets. And if you miss a shot, you're going to be pretty much dead some places. But graveyard and mini pit are decent positions as well. Now let's look at grenade usages. We're going to look at smokes, flashes, and incendiary grenades. So we're going to start with smokes. So you can smoke from the dark room to the stairs. I wouldn't recommend it unless I know that you're there, as it's going to give away your position very quickly, but you can use it to rotate out quite quickly. Again, from boiler you can smoke, but again I wouldn't use it very often unless I know you're there, unless you're having to watch dig as well as apartments, so it can delay them quite easily. Here's a common smoke, just make sure you get it as far left to the pot as possible. As if you don't get it as far left as possible, they can run through to boiler without you noticing it. As you can see, there's a gap on the right hand side. You want that to be as large as possible. If you're on balcony, you can just throw a smoke into the long hall, it doesn't really matter, and it'll just block off. But it does give control to apartments to them, so just be mindful of that. If you're out here, behind the balcony area, underhand smoke, to smoke off balcony. Only do this if you think there's going to be lots of them, as they can actually jump onto the site quite easily without you noticing them. From pit, you just throw a smoke straight in. This is actually quite a good smoke. does give control of apartments to them, but you can watch them from anywhere, and they're not going to be able to run through it without you killing them very easily. From Graveyard, if you're going to throw a smoke, you're going to throw it as far in as possible, because you don't want them to be many ways of them getting out without you noticing it, but it's quite a good smoke. Sight, just hit the door frame to get a decent smoke, you'll get in there quite nicely, and it'll even block off the little nook here, and it blocks them coming out, and they don't have two entrances to come out. From here there's only really one smoke you can throw, which is just going to be on the balcony. It is going to give them those two areas to get out, but it should at least give you a kill if they come towards you. If they go into pit, you're kind of stuffed though. From dig, you can use the pillar to throw one. This will go quite nicely in, and it will only give them one entrance to come out, and you can watch it quite easily, and it should be a good deterrent. So we're going to look at flashes now. So same as the smoke, you can bounce it off the doorway. Not particularly a good flash, it does tell you where they are, but you can use it if you want. You can do the old underhand flash around the corner trick. This is if they know you're there and they're watching you. Bang, flash out, quite nice. You can smash against the doorway here. This is decent. Again, if they're watching you, if they know you're there, you're going to want to flash. If they don't know you're there, you're probably not going to want to flash. From boiler, you're just going to throw a flash in. This is quite good. Delays them, and it can give you a kill if they're close enough. From the long hall, bounce it off the door, flashes the stairs. You can even do an underhand flash here. It's only as effective if they're actually in the long hall or near the stairs. If they're below the stairs or boiler, it's not going to be very effective. You can actually bounce off the back wall using a two-handed flash if you wish. It's going to be the same as the underhand flash. Use which one you prefer. If you're out on the balcony, you can do a two-handed flash rolling along the ground. This is going to land in the little corner, but it's only going to flash people who are close. If you want to flash people a bit further away, you're going to do a single-hand flash straight across. It's going to flash at the base of the long hall. If you want to be tricky, if you go outside the railings, you can do an underhand flash. It's going to flash right in the middle of the doorway. But again, this will only flash if they're close. If you're around the corner, you can just do a straight flash on the ground. This will flash people who are close, allowing you to drop into pit if needed, allowing you to peek out and get a kill if they're close enough. You can do an underhand flash if you wish, just make sure you get the angle right. Otherwise it's probably going to flash your teammates. Also be careful of your teammates on the site. If you're under here, you can flash off the truck. Make sure you get it right. Every other flash that's going to hit the truck is not going to go up. You can use the pillar if you can't seem to get that flash right. This one they can see a bit easier, but it's a bit easier to throw. If you're back in the default pit position, you can do a two-handed flash that will land on the balcony. Make sure you get the angle right here, otherwise it will go underneath the balcony. If you can't do that, just do a straight flash off the wall. Again, they will see this one coming, and it's not particularly as useful, but it's a bit easier to throw. If you even can't get that one, you can use a light post. So this one is much easier to throw because you've got a single thing to aim at. You can also use the truck here to throw if you want to be fancy. So this will flash a bit further back, and it's a good nice pop flash. Or if you're really bad at throwing flashes, you can throw a flash straight in. Not a pop flash, won't flash people deep, but it's easy and quick. Graveyard, you can flash just bouncing off the door frame. Flash on the balcony. It's not really a pop flash. You can use the pillar. Make sure you hit the far right hand side of the pillar. Again, not really a pop flash, but it can be a pop flash if they don't see where it's coming from. If they know that you're in Graveyard, you can do an underhand one that will land in the doorway. So this will flash them when they're looking at the doorway. You can use it to pick up the other side. If you're on site, you can use the pillar as well. So the pillar comes in very useful for flashbangs. You can also do a underhand flash to come between the boxes and the Graveyard. This is a normal spot for people to watch. You can then use that to either rotate or peek with it if you wish. You can flash from the other side of the boxes, straight in. This is a good delaying flash, but it's not a very good flash for you to kill with. If you're behind the first box here on site, underhand flash, land on top of the balcony, can get you a kill, can be very good at delaying as well. Or you can do a straight flash underneath that's going to land between the double boxes and the Graveyard. Quite a good flash, but it's not really going to net you a kill because it's only going to flash people farther back. If they know you're here, you can do an underhand flash that will land on top of the box. Pretty good flash. Not really a pop flash, but it can be quite good. If you're in dig, you can use the pillar again. Straight flash in. Not a pop flash, but it should delay them because they might not figure out that the flash is going to come that way. If you want more of a pop flash, you can throw it against the wall. This requires a more precise angle. Or you can do an underhand flash here that'll pop on the balcony. just make sure you practice these flashbangs, because some of them are a bit tricky. For incendiary grenades, from dark you can throw one on the stairs. Again, you don't want to throw this if they don't know you're there, but if they know you're there it's quite good because it can force them back and you can rotate. From boiler, throw one here, you can use it to then watch dig, or just delay the push. From long haul you can use it for delaying, for splitting up them, so if you see some cross the boiler you can throw it down there and then they can't push across. Here you can use it for delaying quite nicely, so you can throw this and then they probably won't come through long haul, and then you can help out your teammates and dig if you wish. Around the corner you can just throw one here. This hopefully stops their setup, and it also forces them back. If you know they're on balcony and underneath pit, you can pop one straight up. This molotovs the whole of the balcony area, but they can actually jump out. If you're in pit, you can just throw one straight in. It's quite nice, and it molotovs them, forcing them back. If you're in graveyard, you've got to make sure you throw the molotov really far in, otherwise they can still peek you behind the molotov. So that's quite nice. If you don't want to throw it far in, you can actually throw it shorter, and then it'll hit the balcony itself. But they can actually peek you with this, so just make sure you're still behind the graveyard area. If you're on these double boxes, you're actually on the little ledge on the double boxes here, you can throw one that hits the balcony. On site, you can throw one again that hits the balcony. Make sure you throw it low enough, otherwise it will just bounce off the balcony and hit the truck, and then it'll be pretty useless. If you're in dig, you can use the pillar to throw one, lands on the balcony, stops them coming out of the balcony. Good molotovs. Now let's have a look at pushing. We're going to look at benefits and detriments of pushing. So really there's only two ways you can push. You can either push the stairs, or you can push the balcony. So if you push the stairs, it's going to force people back into second mid. It's going to give you control of second mid. It can also give you control of top mid as well if you can do it. Or you can push the balcony room, give you control of exactly the same things. They're quite good pushing, however they're quite dangerous, so weigh up the risks. Now we're going to look at terrace staff plant positions. We're going to look at aggressive ones and defensive ones. So the first one here is on site. It's quite a defensive position, and there's another defensive position on site. That box is spammable, so be careful. Graveyard is a decent position, but you are exposed to dig sometimes, and you can be spammed. Pit is probably the best position if the bomb is planted for you. Even here can be a good position to hold dig from. Here is one of the really good positions if the bomb is planted for you. Balcony is where you want to be, or pit. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.